Hi, is there a goal that you had set to achieve by now, but then this time has come and you've pushed it far ahead? And this happens quite a lot. You set this goal and you say, by June, I'm going to do this. By August, I'll have a million bob set aside or saved. By the next 3 years, by 2020, I'll leave employment and start this project. By this year, I'll have lost this 20 kilos or 50 kilos. There are things we keep setting goals, but then when that time comes, we realize we haven't made a move, and so what do? We shift the deadline that we had set for ourselves and keep pushing it and keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And then eventually, this thing never gets done. So one thing I've realized, or that I've learned with time that works pretty well for me, is doing something that we call backward planning. It's very important that sometimes you learn how to set your goals backward. So that's why we call it backward planning or backward goal setting. What do I mean by backward planning? What exactly I mean is something that looks pretty obvious, but then many a times because we don't put it to mind, it actually makes us not to realize our goals. And by this I mean, decide you already have what you want to do at the end of it. You already have the final goal. You have the big picture in mind that you're saying in the next 5 years. And don't just say in the next 5 years, like we said, you need to be very precise. This next 5 years is exactly what year. If that 5 years is ending at 2022, for example, that's the end game. That's where you should have achieved it. So you work it out backwards and figure out what is it that I need to do before then for this goal to actualize. So all I'm looking at is for you to have the bigger picture in mind first. And by having this bigger picture in mind, it's not just a picture, it's not just a vague picture, it is a clear, precise goal. A precise goal in terms of exactly what you want to achieve, and precise in terms of at exactly what time or what date you want it achieved. Then from that time, work it backwards and see what exactly you need to do for it to happen. Let it, for example, that you're saying in the next 5 years, by 2022, you are going to quit employment and start this project. So you already have a date and you already have a project in mind. So as you work it backwards, what you're asking yourself is, what exactly do I need by that date when it lands? Probably one of the things that you need by that time is that you have specific skills that you need to have learned. You have a certain amount of money that you need to have put aside. You have maybe some people you need to have talked to, or some partnership that you need to have gained before then. So as you work it backwards, what you're asking yourself is that, if in 5 years this is where I want to be, what do I need to do now in year 1 or in the next 6 months? So that you now break it down into small things that amount to that date. And if you're in probably project management, or if you do projects a lot, this is something you've probably done. But again, we always do this when you're in our professional life or in our work life. So you always have this nice work plan. We have said that this project ends on December 31st. And you have a week by week work plan that defines what will happen on week 1. That this meeting will happen. That after this meeting, we are going to brief this person. After we have briefed this person, we are going to start working on this project. And after this project is what happened next. So we have very nice work plans in our workplace that defines what exactly needs to happen week by week until the last date when we are going to launch this big project. Why is it that we don't do that with our life? Why is it that we say by December I will lose 30 kgs, but then we don't define what needs to happen between now and December? Why is it that we say by the year 2020, I want to be the head of this department, or I want to be this manager, but you don't work out what needs to happen between now and then? If you're not very deliberate on what needs to happen between now and then, that's why you keep backtracking. That's why you keep pushing goals, because that time has come and you have not achieved it. So even in your career life, you need to decide, if I want to be a manager in 5 years, what needs to happen between now and then? I probably need to go back to school. I probably need to learn these new skills. I probably need to even change employment from like 2 or 3 times. These are things you need to actually define in your head. These things do not happen by default. Don't sit back and say that this person is sharp enough or is lucky enough that they keep changing jobs and moving roles. It is actually something they have deliberately planned. They sat down and decided that by year 2019 December, I'll be in this position in this kind of a company. Or I'll be in this kind of a company accumulating this amount of money for me to do this project. These things don't happen by default. It is a backward planning that somebody has worked on. So you need to sit down and realize, for me to be in that company as a manager, I need to have this kind of qualifications. So you sit down and start working it. So I'm here now at a diploma level. By that time, I need a degree or a master's. So in 4 years, how can I make that work? And so they start working it out. For me to have this, I need to pay school fees, which will amount to this. Or I need to work in an organization that pays this kind of school fees for me. So you find your way into that organization and get them to pay for you that kind of school fees. So you have to have that kind of work plan in your head. If you wait for that D-Day to come, or if you just have that goal and a net point of when it needs to happen, you will keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. If you need to lose this 30 kgs in the next 1 year, what are the day by day steps? What are you going to do in week 1? What will you do week 2, week 3, week 4 of month 1? Then get to month 2. What happens in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? Learn to have a work plan of your personal life. The same way we have work plans for projects in our offices or in our businesses. Because you don't do the same in your personal life, then you'll keep shifting goals. The reason why we achieve our goals in business but fail in our personal life is because you don't give them as much details as we do in business. So the challenge I'm giving you today is to employ that task or that role of doing backward planning or backward goal setting. Have a clear goal in mind of what you want to achieve and by when, and then break it down and have a work plan of what you need to do from now till then, so that they keep building and building up to get to that point. You realize that sometimes in that process you might need to change a few tactics here and there. Maybe you've taken this employer who you thought you pay your bills and didn't work, or you thought you're going to earn this much and didn't work. You might need to change a few tactics here and there, but the goal, the end game does not change. What you want to achieve still remains, but that work plan keeps you on check and helps you to keep measuring your progress as you move towards getting to your big goals. So big goals don't happen by default. Big goals don't happen by luck. It is pre-thought ideas. It is action that have been thought through and a plan that have been put down and then put into action and monitored closely on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week, on a month-to-month basis until you achieve your goal. All the best in chasing your next goal.